Hello, Easy Enough English members. This is going to be a grammar workshop video that I will put in the grammar workshop video series of the group. Okay. Today we're going to talk about conjunctions. Okay. The last few videos have been about pronouns, a very important part of the English sentence, right? But conjunctions are going to be words that we can use to put two sentences together. Okay. What I've done is I've taken three common conjunctions that you will always see in English. Okay. And I've also taken one more conjunction for each one of those three that is the same thing, okay, but a different word. So in English, the more ways that you have to say kind of the same thing, the better you will be at English, okay? It makes you sound more fluent, like you know more English. And it's very helpful when you need to put together sentences, okay? So the very three basic conjunctions that I have chosen are because, but, and. Okay, you will always see these three conjunctions in any English that you read, any book, or you will hear it in movies or anything that has to do with English. Okay, so let's start with because. Okay, now here I have because and so. Okay, you can use because and so in the same way. Okay, so what I've done is I have two sentences. I am tired. I go to sleep. Now remember, the subject for each sentence is I. That's the subject. The verb is am. Okay, we don't have an object. Okay, remember, an object is a noun. Tired is not a noun. It's an adjective. It tells us how I feels. Okay, the second sentence is the same subject. Okay, the verb is go, and sleep, to sleep, is not really a noun. It's not an object. Okay, it's another action. It's telling us what you're doing. Okay, this is called the infinitive, but we won't talk about that here. Okay. Anyway, we can put these two sentences together using a conjunction, and we can use actually the conjunctions because and so. Okay. Now, the first one using because will go like this. I go to sleep because I am tired. Okay. Now, let's figure out what this part of the sentence is. We have I am tired. Okay. And we have I go to sleep. Okay. This is the reason. Okay, this is the result. Okay, we have the reason and the result. You go to sleep. Why did you go to sleep? Because you are tired. So that's the reason for the result, for why you go to sleep. Okay, and let's call the reason A, and let's call the result B. Okay, so now we have here, we have, what's that? Is that A or B? I go to sleep is B, is the result. Okay, and I am tired is A. Okay, now the reason that I said I split those up into A and B is so that we can use so. Now, so is not the same, okay? Because we need to have the result before the reason. So is the other way around, okay? So we have, I am tired, okay? Which is A, the reason. And then we have, I go to sleep, B, okay? So for so, we have the reason before the result, okay? Whereas because is the other way around. We have the result before the reason, okay? So you can think of B because A, and A, so B. Now, one important thing to remember with so is you need a comma after the first clause, okay? If you don't have the comma, it is wrong, okay? You need the comma there. So one more time, I go to sleep because I am tired. You're tired is the reason why you go to sleep. So it's B because A, okay? Here we have A, comma, so B. So we have the reason, and then we have the result, okay? Now, because and so really mean the same thing, but you have to be careful when you change them into each other, because the order of the sentence will change too, okay? Now let's talk about but and however, okay? Everybody knows but, okay? Not this but, okay? I speak Chinese. I am not fluent. Fluent means you speak a language like a person who has spoken that language for their whole life. So I am fluent in English because it's my first language. I am not fluent in Chinese because it's my second language. Just like you are fluent in Chinese because it's your first language, but you are not fluent in English because it's your second language. Okay, that's all that word fluent means. Okay, now I'm going to use but. I speak Chinese, but I am not fluent. Okay, now these two clauses can be by themselves. They just tell me what I can and cannot do. Okay, and remember, I is the subject, speak is the verb, Chinese is the object. Same thing here. We have a subject, we have a verb, but we do not have an object. Okay, so but tells us a difference. Okay, one thing that is and one thing that isn't. An easy way to think of but is like this. Okay, you can have the but, so you might have a negative here, okay, and a positive here. Or you can have a positive here or a negative here, okay? So here I have a positive. I speak Chinese, that's a good thing. A bad thing is I'm not fluent. So I have the positive, comma, but then a negative. Or I can make but the same way. I can have a negative first, and then I can have my positive. Either way is okay. But if you have a negative on this side, you need to have a positive on this side. If you have a positive on this side, you need to have a negative on this side. So that's how but is used. It's pretty easy. Now let's talk about however, okay? One thing many students do when they write, they start a sentence with but. That is a big no-no. You cannot start a sentence with but you can start a sentence with however, okay? So I will take the same sentences, same two sentences, but I'm going to use however to put them together. I speak Chinese, semicolon, however, comma, I am not fluent. However is the same as but it's a different way to say it. And I can start a sentence with however. I'll show you in a little while. But first, let's talk about our punctuation, or here. You see I have a semicolon. Now, when do I use a semicolon? Well, let's see, I'll make this darker so you can see it. Okay. I use a semicolon when both things on both sides of the semicolon can be sentences by themselves, which means each one needs to have a subject and a verb. Okay. Here's my subject, I, here's my verb, speak. On the other side of the semicolon, here's my subject, here's my verb. Then I'm good. I need to use a semicolon. Now, if I don't have a subject, then in the second one, I cannot use a semicolon. For example, let's go back to but. I speak Chinese, but I am not fluent. Now, for this sentence with but, I really don't need this. Okay? I can say, I speak Chinese, but I'm not fluent. Or actually, a better way to say that would be, a less awkward way would say, but not fluently. Okay? Now, I changed that. I used an adverb, fluently, but let's see. Do I have a subject over here? No. Do I have a verb? No. So that's why I cannot use a semicolon. I have to use a comma because over here I don't have a subject and I don't have a verb. Okay. But for semicolon, I need to have a subject and verb over here and a subject and verb over here. Then I can use a semicolon. And I also need a comma after however. Now, remember I said you can start a sentence with however, right? And another way of doing this would be to say, I'll let you look at this sentence here before I erase it. So, I speak Chinese, semicolon, however, comma, I am not fluent. Fluent in what? Chinese. Here's a way to write it, starting a sentence with however. Okay. Let's erase that. Okay. I can say, I speak Chinese, period. Now, this is one sentence. My next sentence, I will start the sentence with however. So, however, comma, I am not fluent. Okay. Now, I've started a sentence with however, which is okay. But I cannot use but I can use however. Okay. Now, when I start my sentence with however, all I need is the comma here. That's it. I don't need a semicolon because I have a period. Okay. So that's how you start a sentence with however. If you want to start a sentence with however, you need to have a sentence before it telling us the thing that you can't do or the positive. Okay. If you don't have a sentence telling me that you speak Chinese, you cannot just say, however, I am not fluent. That doesn't make sense. You need to have the sentence, I can speak Chinese. And then, however, I am not fluent. Okay. So you need to have some sentence before this that gives me information, more information. Okay. Now, let's move on to our last conjunction, which everybody has used and heard of many times, which is and. Okay. I have two sentences. He is kind. He is friendly. Okay. Subject, he. Verb, is. Same thing here. Now, I want to put them together using and. Very easy, right? He is kind and friendly. So easy. Okay. Now, the same thing for and, the same thing that was true for but is true for and. You cannot start a sentence with and, but you can start a sentence with in addition, okay, or also. Okay. So let's look at my sentence with also. I said he is kind, period. He is also friendly. So I didn't put these two words together, right? But I used another way of saying and, also. Okay. Now, I can start my sentence with also. Just take a look at how I did that. If I wanted to do that, I could just say, well, also would not be, it would be kind of awkward. Okay. I can say he is kind, also he is friendly. Okay, yes, I could say that. But it would be better if I used another linking phrase, which would be something like in addition. Okay. Or I can say moreover. Now, in addition and moreover are the same thing as and. But the difference is that I can start a sentence with in addition and moreover. I cannot start a sentence with and, okay? You can start a sentence with also as well, but it sounds better if you use something like in addition or moreover, okay? And comma, he is friendly. Now, the reason that I wanted to use but and is because you cannot start a sentence with but and you cannot start a sentence with and. And this is a mistake that I see students who speak or study English as a second language make all the time. They start sentences with but and, which is not okay. So you need to learn some different ways of saying but and that you can use to start a sentence. That's why you need to know more conjunctions. The more conjunctions you know, the better, okay? Because some of the rules in English are different. So, like, you can't start a sentence with and but. So if you know things like also, in addition, or moreover, you're okay. And they're the same thing. Like I said for but, right, I have positive, comma, but, negative, comma, but positive, or positive, comma, but negative. I can do the same thing for and, but and is like this. On both sides of the conjunction, it's the same idea. So I have positive and positive. Or I can have negative and negative. Okay? That's what and is. And it's the same for also. This would be the same for also, moreover, and in addition. Okay? So I could put moreover and in addition. It's, that's two D's. Okay? It's the same concept. Positive, 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 or negative, 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 negative. Okay. So guys, that's the video. I just wanted to give you a quick explanation of conjunctions and how to use some conjunctions interchangeably, okay? The more conjunctions you know, the better you will be able to speak English and the better you will be able to put sentences together, okay? This is going to be very important when you write. So guys, if you like the video, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section. If you have any questions about tutoring information, you can reach me at easyenouughenglish@gmail.com. I'll write that for you. easyenouughenglish@gmail.com. Or you can send me a message through Facebook Messenger. Chinese is okay. All right, guys. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks and bye-bye.